Hey everybody, as always I am the Tramp. Thank you for watching the Saturday Sit Down on Championship Beer. Now originally today we were going to talk about Trappist beers, largely because there just wasn't a whole lot going on this week. Had to talk about something, but then finally some news came out about, well, not a Trappist brewery, but with their name, they sure want you to think they are. So we're going to talk about the latest mess going on with the Lost Abbey. Our beer for today comes from the original, not the latest one, the original Sierra Nevada Beer Camp across America, I should say. This is the Maillard's Odyssey, their collaboration with Bell's Brewery. It's an Imperial Dark Ale. So something a little bit Belgian inspired, but not quite Belgian. I sat on a lot of these beers for too long, and this one seems like it's going to be the most drinkable. So the big news this week was the disastrous pre-sale ticketing for Duck Duck Goose. I absolutely hate single day beer sales, and we're going to get into that in a bit. But first, a bit of background information. So, the Lost Abbey is a small brewery out of Southern California. They focus on Belgian style beers, hence the name Belgian and Abbey and Trappist, and they want you to kind of think that they're all one thing when they're not. But they are a brewery that has won Small Brewery of the Year at the Great American Beer Festival. They've won a number of medals both at the GABF and the World Beer Cup for their beers. So they're not some new startup just trying to get noticed. They're a brewery that's been around a while now, and they're a known entity. And this Duck Duck Goose is their. It's not an annual release. It is once every 3 years that it comes out. Let's look at one of these specialty beer releases. This is a one-day, once-a-year sale from another brewery, and I'm going to show you the clip right now. That was Hunahpu Day 2014. That is Hunahpu Day is basically a made-up beer holiday in Central Florida, Cigar City, based out of Tampa, or Ybor, which is a suburb. It's all Central Florida. They release this Hunahpu's Imperial Stout once a year, and they release tickets to stand in line to get the beer. And what you saw was what happened when they ran out of beer. A lot of people had counterfeited tickets. Some people bought legitimate tickets and they didn't get it. Some people unwittingly bought counterfeit tickets from scalpers and they didn't get it. There were a lot of people that paid money that did not get their beer, and that's why they were so upset. So, right after Cigar City, they took a couple days to look at it. They're like, hey, we messed up. We're going to look at this. And they said, we're canceling Hunahpu Day. We're going to start selling Hunahpu in distribution. You will be able to find it at your stores that sell Cigar City, at least the ones that sell the more obscure beers or smaller releases, Puppy's Breast, stuff like that. The places that sell craft centric and get Cigar City, you'll be able to find Hunahpu Day, Hunahpu's Imperial Stout next year. Then a couple weeks afterwards, they said, "To hell with that. We're going to do Hunahpu Day again." This Lost Abbey meltdown is not the next time that this has happened. This has happened with a number of different breweries. This problem with the Lost Abbey is merely the most recent time it's happened, because it happened Friday, yesterday. I'm filming on Friday, so today as I'm filming it, this is when this happened. So this is 2 years later, and people are still having this mess. And this isn't even at the event. This is just to sell tickets. They tried 3 different methods of selling tickets, and they all failed. The final one that they went through double sold their stock. So they sold twice as many tickets as they have beer to sell. Obviously, that's not going to work. So all these people that got their orders in beforehand said, "Hey, I made it. I got it before they sold out." Rug swept out from underneath them. They got their money back. They're not out that money like the people at the Cigar City event. Some of them were, but they thought they had the beer coming to them, and they didn't. So anyway, Lost Abbey. They know they messed up. They've put out a bunch of different hashtags. Cluster Duck being one of them. Uh, they acknowledge that this is not a good situation, and they are going to look for a solution. And if I may be so bold to offer one, go with what Cigar City originally said they were going to do. By the way, if I didn't mention it, this is amazing. This is an Imperial Stout. It's not quite a Russian, which probably my favorite of the stouts. But yeah, this is an Imperial Dark Ale, but it tastes like a stout. It's got kind of this chocolatey flavor to it, and it's damn good. Take your beer from your vats, bottle it like you're going to do, then put those bottles in boxes. Then sell those to a distributor and have the distributor sell them to bars and bottle shops that are craft centric. And then people can go to these bars and bottle shops and buy your beer. I know that it sounds crazy. I know that selling these beers to bars and bottle shops is a crazy idea. But I'm telling you it works. That lets people like me go to that bar or that bottle shop and not have to stand in a line in the heat, not get unruly drunk at an impromptu bottle share, standing in line, as always happens, not getting charged crazy markup on the food trucks that always show up at these events. That lets me just go to a place where I buy beer, talk to staff that knows beer because we're talking about craft-centric locations, and buy your beer. Everything you lose from having the event, you more than make up for by not having all this cluster duck that you're having to deal with now. Not just Lost Abbey, let me talk to any brewery that might have a person working for it watching. End these stupid events. End ticketed sales. If you can only make one batch of a beer, which is ridiculous when you know it's this popular, but that's your thing. If you can only make one batch of beer and you can't just sell it to people in your brew pub or whatever outlet you have, if that is not practical to sell it all in one single release to people standing in a line, then sell it into distribution to your normal distribution channels. You went with these houses because ostensibly they know how to sell craft beer. You're making it harder for yourself, and you're making it harder for people like me that just want to buy your beer. Quit your bullshit. Thank you for putting up with my rant. As always, I am the Tramp. This has been the Sierra Nevada Beer Camp Maillard's Odyssey collaboration with Bells. As always, cheers.